Hey, everybody, welcome to another Meet the Commissioners. We've got a whole screen full of commissioners today. I'm here at the Capitol at my office. I'm on the Georgia Public Service Commission. My name's Tim Echols, coming to us from Cobb County, Chairwoman Lisa Cupid. Hey, Lisa, how's it going?
Well,
Going over to from the national, from the World Series Braves, where Chairwoman Cupid is, all the way over to where the national champion UGA Dogs are. John Daniell, chairman of the Oconee County Commission. How's it going, John?
Going great. Good to be here.
Yeah, and then going in deep southeast Georgia, first down to McIntosh County, Darien, Georgia, Commissioner David Stevens, Chairman David Stevens. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great today, Commissioner. Thank you for having me. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing great. And then even further down to Glynn County, Cap Fendig from the Glynn County Commission. How you doing, Cap?
Great, and a warm hello from the beaches and the Golden Isles.
Yeah, let's start with the two guys who get to live at the beach all the time. How about the hurricane? Let me start with you, Cap, because you're further south. Did the hurricane impact you at all? Was the water up? Was there flooding, or did y'all miss it?
Well, we had a lot of excitement with the high waves and high tides, and some flooding with minimal impact. There's no way that you can even say anything in comparison to our friends in Florida who have suffered terribly, and up in South Carolina and North Carolina. Totally different. It helps to live on the westernmost coastline on the eastern seaboard. We're a hard target to hit for the hurricanes, but not impossible, as everybody knows.
Amen.
Yeah. Commissioner Stevens, maybe folks haven't been to Darien. It's just the next county up. The Altamaha River separates Glynn County from your county. Did you get high waters in the Altamaha this past week?
We did. Nothing like we were expecting or prepared for. The National Weather Service was telling us that if we flooded during Hurricane Irma, to be prepared for basically the same surge. So we were prepared. Moved a lot of stuff to high ground. Some people on our barrier islands, Sapelo Island, Barber Island, Hurt Island, they all came off the islands for the most part. So, but thank the Lord, we dodged it. I would say that we probably had about a 10.5-foot tide, and that was about it. We did not see the flooding that we were expecting, and that's a good thing.
Chairwoman Cupid, I know I saw some aerial photos of traffic coming out of Florida heading up 75. And I'm assuming y'all probably had hotels completely full as a result of folks evacuating or close to it.
yes. I mean, we're fortunate we do have significant hotel capacity, so I haven't heard of there being any challenges with that here in Cobb, but traffic levels certainly have been elevated.
Yeah, Chairman Daniell, all we have, I guess, is the Oconee River in Oconee County, right? We don't really have a lot of flooding up towards Athens, do we?
No, sir, not at all. We actually didn't even get a drop of rain out of the whole storm, so we haven't had rain about 10 days up here.
Yeah. Wow. Well, if you're just joining us, I've got a screen full of commissioners. Special thanks to United Consulting for sponsoring this today. I think we're going to do a giveaway at the end for folks that are watching. We're live streaming on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, so you can go back and watch this if you like. Let me go to the chairwoman. The Braves are doing really good. I know that as I stayed in that Battery area, I was at a conference over there, and I stayed maybe in that loft hotel Marriott property. Is the Battery and all of the infrastructure surrounding the Braves, is it turning out to be everything that Cobb County had hoped?
I think it's turning out to be everything and more. Certainly, we knew the big excitement was going to be the stadium when it was announced, and the Battery has turned into a destination point, whether or not you're there for a game or otherwise. And so we continue to reap the benefits of that, not only in the Battery, but even areas beyond it, as we see a lot more interest in the county from an economic development perspective, which drives people to live here as well. So it continues to be the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, you got to love that. Cap and David, let me ask you, I know that Hyundai plant's going to be going in up at Savannah. Are you getting inquiries from suppliers and others that want to be kind of close to that? And do you have, maybe some other large folks that are coming to the area and they're reaching out, or suppliers reaching out? Let me start with you, Commissioner Stevens, in McIntosh, and then go to Commissioner Fendig.
Yes, we have indeed. I meet often with the Industrial Development Authority. Being the chairman of the commission, they'll ask me to come sit in when they have prospects coming in that's interested in our industrial development park. And I've met with 3 of the larger suppliers, vendors that are considered tier 2, that don't have to be right there, at what I'm going to call ground zero. They're tier 2, and they can be out as far as McIntosh County. And we've definitely seen an uptick in interest, and we got high hopes for landing some of those. But it's been very positive and a lot of interest in our park.
Commissioner Fendig, how about you from the impact of some of these larger companies?
Well, there's a lot happening for the coast from Savannah down that's changing. My family are the harbor pilots here, and so that contact and community association and being commissioner, what is happening is a real shift in dynamics on the coast. Of course, as you know, the Ports Authority is really making Savannah dedicated to container shipping exclusively. They're shifting all the cars down to the Port of Brunswick. The federal government and the state have partnered to build a 4th berth. The impact of that is beyond anybody's understanding and grasp, as the automotive business will continue to build and from all economies of the state, as that supply line winds up coming into our port or out of the port. So it's huge. And what we see is now is, like everybody experienced, the demand for labor, and then you got to have affordable housing. We're known as the resort, not the commercial city. And Brunswick, the city of Brunswick now is facing a lot of new challenges with demands now for housing. That's really the key. And the impact is going to be huge on the interstate, on the rails. Georgia has invested heavily in its transportation network. So we're connected to Atlanta. We're connected to Savannah. Really big things are going to be happening over the next 10 years.
Chairman Daniell, I know Rivian is just a county or 2 away from your area. Are you getting similar inquiries in your county regarding the Rivian plant?
Not at this time. We're seeing a lot of interest in some housing areas, but no big impact as far as industrial development at this point.
What's going on in Oconee County? A lot of, obviously, if you are in and around Athens or you go to school in Athens, everybody knows where Watkinsville, Oconee County is. But what's some of the things that are happening that you're excited about in Oconee County right now?
Well, one would be our broadband project that we've partnered with Charter Communications. So they're in the process now of doing the engineering and getting permitting started. So we've gone into agreement with them where we'll have a grant for $1,000 per home that's connected. And if they can, for every home they connect in 2022, we're adding another $200 to that. So that's been a real problem here in our area, is internet access. Also, the other exciting is Costco is building a new store here, and that's supposed to open up in November, next November 15th. So everybody's real excited about that prospect.
Yeah, Chairwoman Cupid, you and I were together when we cut the ribbon over at the Bishop's Church by Six Flags. I don't know if you remember that many years ago, but we're continuing to add more chargers with these 2 EV factories now coming along. Are you I know Cobb has gotten their F-150 Lightnings in. How are you as a county leader kind of feeling about electric transportation, particularly in the county fleet?
Thanks for asking. It certainly makes me sensitive to what's going on in the industry because as the technology is changing, there still continues to be ongoing need for our fleet system. And we've just recently had an agenda item to purchase new vehicles. And, the question is, do you continue to buy current fuel vehicles or do you continue to get electric vehicles as the technology is changing? Because we want to be good stewards of our tax dollars and make sure that we're not buying vehicles that are soon going to be obsolete. So these are decisions that we need to be taking into consideration every day. But we're very fortunate that we have an excellent leader, Al Curtis, with our fleet management system. They continue to be award-winning every year, and he's probably one of the largest proponents in us being at the front of these technological changes when it comes to electrifying not only our fleet, but also, just looking at how we integrate this into all of our operations to become more of a green county. So it certainly is making me more sensitive again to the developments in this arena. So I can be a good steward, yes, of the environment, but also of our tax dollars.
Yeah, as I hear from folks that have purchased or leased that F-150 Lightning, and I'll be at an event tomorrow with a guy that bought 2 Rivians. These owners of these vehicles seem to be extremely pleased with the power, the torque, the hauling capacity. Let me ask David and Cap about this. South Georgia, just more space, further to drive, and you guys really, for EVs to work for you, you've got to have substantial range. Are you getting, David, let me ask you first, are you getting inquiries from people about electric vehicles? Are they wanting chargers? I mean, you're in the resort area. You got people driving in there that, in a Tesla that need to charge while they're there eating seafood in Darien?
That for sure. Yeah. And actually, we're seeing more and more of it, even as rural as we are, and remote as we are, we're seeing, more and more of the EVs coming in. And as you said, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty easy to recognize that Tesla. But, the other morning I was at the coffee shop and a guy come in. I didn't even know they made them, but it was a fully electric Harley. And he told me his range was about 200 miles. And, and he was asking about a place to plug in. So the interest is here, and we're seeing more and more traffic, coming through. And there is also talk of putting some charging stations at our new Welcome Center that just opened up on I-95 at exit 49.
Oh, that's awesome. How about you, Cap? Are you getting, I know Jekyll Island in your county has a ton of chargers, and there's a good bit on St. Simon's as well. Are you getting a lot of interest down there in electric vehicles with particularly tourists?
Well, I think it's the same nationwide. It's a shifting economy, and it's really driven by the availability of charging stations. I think the auto companies are able to ramp up pretty quick in the production. So, we're heavy freight when you're next to the I-95 interstate. You're just heavy equipment, and I think the concerns and focus are on those modes of transportation and how that's going to work and not disrupt the already difficult supply system. Cars are showing up, recreationally here because they do come, and charging stations are being put in. But I think the real conversations are, what are you doing with the heavy duty stuff that's moves America around, flies it, trains it, hauls it, and that's the uncertain future ahead.
Yeah. How about you, Chairman Daniell? I know that Athens has that Tesla supercharger system in your county over there by the TJ Maxx that my wife frequents on a regular basis. Not the charger. She's over at the TJ Maxx store in her Prius. But So are you getting a lot of interest in Oconee County for EVs?
Yes, we've got 6 stations over there in the Epps Bridge area, and we're looking at hopefully adding some along the 441 corridor as well in the future.
Yeah, I know I was talking to Commissioner McMurray, our DOT commissioner, and 441 was part of their NEVI plan. So that's going to be something DOT is quarterbacking. And I guess from down in your area, Cap, David, is it Highway 82? Does Highway 82 go from, is it Brunswick towards Valdosta? Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Our main routes out interstate are, of course, 82 across to Valdosta, and then 341 up through Jessup in the middle of Georgia.
Yeah. Let me go back to Chairwoman Cupid. As you think about, some of the exciting things going on in Cobb County right now, it just still seems to, every time I'm up there, it just seems to continue to be growing. What are some of the challenges that Cobb County is facing right now?
Hi, well, we can piggyback off the term that you use as growth, and growth is always a positive thing because it shows sign of investment and people are willing to move here, which means they have some confidence in your community. But growth also signifies that things are changing, and we know the adage about change, and it's sometimes not an easy thing to grapple with. And so we want to make sure as we're growing that we're doing so in a smart way, in a way that can support everyone who's here. One of the commissioners talked about the need for affordable housing, and I believe this is an interest across Cobb County as it may be across the state and even nation, just as we're populating and people are continuing to come to Georgia, just trying to find a place where people can live and live comfortably and affordably is becoming an increasing challenge for us. And so that's something we want to be mindful of as we, again, appreciate all of this positive growth. We want to make sure that we have people who can not only work here, but live here as well.
Chairman Daniell, I'm through your county, I guess, probably more than any of the counties represented here today because we live close to Athens. And I know that in 2007, there were so many neighborhoods that were, had all the infrastructure put in it. They were ready to go. And I'm seeing a lot of those come back now. I guess those neighborhoods were purchased maybe from a bank or a builder kind of restarting that. Are you having a lot of new home sales, new home growth in Oconee right now?
So a lot of those lots are still undeveloped. There's probably almost 2,000 lots that were zoned in the early 2000s that are not even being touched yet. So last year we had just around 185 new home starts. A lot of that had to do with supply chain, but we're on track to hit around 250, which is kind of our sweet spot. That's the rate at which the school system can absorb the growth, and we're able to do that as well. So looks like we're going to maintain the 250 level, hopefully for a good while.
Yeah, let me go down to McIntosh County. If you're just joining us, I've got 4 county chair people from around Georgia, Glynn County, McIntosh County, Oconee County, and Cobb County. And I-95 obviously, comes through both McIntosh and Glynn. David, let me ask you about what's going on the river there. The last time I was there, I saw, some looked like condos that were just beautiful. And I understand y'all have a boutique hotel that's going to be going up. I stayed in that bed and breakfast right there in Darien. What's kind of happening in downtown Darien?
Yeah, we do. We're excited. We do have the Oaks on the River, a boutique hotel that's fixing to open up. And as I was talking earlier, you and I were talking a little bit before we came online today. It's the biggest project. I moved to Georgia in 1980. I was 12 years old, and it's the biggest project that's happened in Darien in my time. It's a $15 to $20 million project, and along with the condos next door, the condos are sold out. Those sold out in less than a year. But the same developer that built the condos is fixing to open the Oaks on the River boutique hotel. and it's that's scheduled to come online and open up November 1. And we're excited. I mean, this 100 to 105 new jobs in Darien, Georgia, which is big. That's huge for us. And we can't wait to see, what that pulls in, to our community with the addition of the seafood restaurants that we already have here that are pulling people off at I-95. Darien's become a destination just because of some popular seafood restaurants. But we're super excited about this new Oaks on the River hotel opening up as well.
I mean, Darien's so close to 95. You can be there just lickety split. It's much further, to get to, say, St. Simon's, or to get to the heart of Jekyll Island. You're going to have to drive 15 or 20 minutes to get there. But Darien's just a couple of minutes away, right?
That's correct. I mean, what is it, a mile, 2 miles off of 95, a mile off of 95, you're sitting on Highway 17. And once you've made 17 and you head south, you're in downtown Darien. You're in the heart of, in the heart of McIntosh County.
Yeah. Cap, let me ask you, Jekyll Island just continues to get better. I know I've just finished up a book called John Mark of Jekyll. It's a historical fiction book that I wrote during the pandemic about the founding of the Jekyll Island Club. And it goes even further, because it goes to some of the barrier islands and what was going on with formerly enslaved people there on Sapelo and Catharines, and just kind of goes through some of that history. I've got a couple of characters on here, a fictitious French immigrant and a Gullah woman who becomes kind of his mentor. And Chairwoman Cupid, by the way, she went to Howard in my book. She's a fictitious character. So you can, the beautiful thing about fiction is you can say whatever you want to say. So I love that. But Jekyll Island, Cap, just continues to build some outstanding properties down there. And of course, it's just pristine. Jones Hooks and his staff do such a good job. My family is just, we used to go to St. Simon's all the time, but we're spending more and more time on Jekyll.
Yeah, I hear rumors you're over on that other island. Now, the beaches of Georgia are limited in access. You have beautiful coastline, but really only 4 islands that you can drive to. Tybee Island. The other 3 are in Glynn County. And of course, that's Jekyll, St. Simon's, and Sea Island. Any of the other islands you want to go to, beachfront islands, you got to get a boat, charter them, like from a guy like me, or have your own boat. So it's limited accessible. And of course, with COVID, everything was sequestered, but coming out of COVID, everybody was ready to break out of cities. We've had so much money pouring in construction and homes, investments in short-term rentals. And, unlike the other communities on here that have room to expand, an island is an island, and that's it. And Jekyll is gone through a long season of getting to where it's at. It took a lot of effort from the state and the communities and the right people in place on the authority to guide it to the right place. So, recently Jekyll and St. Simon's have all gotten worldwide attentions, best islands, best this, best everything. So, when you're coming to Georgia, 75% of the beach access is in Glynn County. So it's a huge visitor population, which is dramatically increased, which, like everything, is good and bad in its equal respect. Like the Cobb County chairman was saying, with growth comes change. And a lot of people, like my family, have been here for generations and generations. A lot of them living here don't like the change and don't like the short-term rentals. They're used to a community fellowship and knowing who their neighbor is. And now with short-term rentals, you got John Doe and then Jane Bear here the next week. And so everybody's like we have to do all over in life. You have to adjust and move forward.
Let me go to the chairwoman as you, and this will be our last kind of round of questions, and then I'm going to ask just kind of a couple of fun things of you. Chairwoman, as you're thinking about the future for Cobb, some of your plans, the commission's plans, what are, what maybe are the top one or two things that you guys are really focused on?
Thanks for asking. Just from a general community development policy perspective, housing and transportation are the big ones. Again, housing affordability is a challenge, and just growth is a challenge because Cobb is essentially built out, but yet we continue to have interest here. And so, as people look to change their land uses, there's opportunity to bring more people in, but the housing type looks different, particularly when you're considering affordability as well. So that's one issue that we're addressing. Also, transportation is big. We have a strong economy and we have to get people to work. And about 65% of our population commutes outside of the county to work, and about 65% of our workforce commutes in. So transportation is significant for us. But with limited roadways, there's opportunity to consider transportation alternatives like transit, which again introduces that concept of change. So how can we integrate that to keep up with the continuing demand and interest in Cobb County, while also maintaining support and investment of our citizens and our businesses that are here today? Overall, though, those fall under the framework of equity, which is part of the reason why I decided to run for chairwoman, just as the state, how there's some areas of the state that are more developed and invested in others. And same as for Cobb County and probably for any community. And because I've lived so many places in our county, I've just always wanted to see any of the policy issues we attack, just be able to do it with a sense of equity so every area of the county has opportunity to thrive.
Yeah. David, let me go to you because I know you've got a doctor's appointment. Same question. What are the top two things that you're most excited about for McIntosh County?
I think just with some of the things that we've already talked about and touched on, we're super excited, about the opportunities and the interest that's coming, our way from, as Cap had mentioned earlier, with the announcement of that fourth berth in Brunswick to the Port of Brunswick, and then the Hyundai announcement up in Bryan County, and then obviously just the expansion of the Port of Savannah. So, just for economic outlook and opportunities, that is, we're super excited about that. We are excited again about our little hotel that's fixing to open up. And we face the same challenges that everybody else does. I mean, when half of our, when you put that circle around McIntosh County to see where you're going to draw labor from and employees from, when you're meeting with these project managers, and half your circles in the Atlantic Ocean, you're kind of handcuffed, which is not a bad thing. I mean, we're tickled to death. Our number one industry is ecotourism, and we love it when people come here and hunt and fish and kayak and paddle up and down the Omaha River, and that's our focus, is just maintaining. We have an incredible commercial shrimp industry and oyster industry, and just maintaining that pristine environment that make those thrive. We're looking forward to some of these opportunities for growth, but we've got the same challenges that everybody else has. I mean, housing, labor, all the above.
Well, David, I'll say goodbye to you because I know you're heading out. Good luck with all you're doing, and we'll see you next time I'm down there.
All right. Thank you very much, Commissioner, and thank everybody for having me today.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Let me go to you, John. Top two things that you're excited about in Oconee County.
Well, our main focus will be water and wastewater right now. We're in a reservoir agreement with Athens, Clark County, Jackson County, and Barrow County, and we're looking at expanding that treatment plant. We're also in the process of expanding our wastewater plant here in Oconee County. We're also in a joint venture with Walton County, and we'll be moving forward with a treatment plant there for drinking water. And then, of course, transportation is always a big issue. We actually have a T-SPLOS on our ballot for November this time.
my dad was a county commissioner and my grandfather. And they both told me that, son, grandson, if you're going to run for office and you become a county commissioner, there's a lot of thankless things that you have to do. Roads, sewer, water, ball fields, things that people don't necessarily they take these things for granted. Don't they, Cap? They take this infrastructure for granted, but somebody's got to be thinking about this and planning it, right, Cap?
That's right. We all know what that experience is when you serve the public.
Yes.
And that's what happens when you drink island water. You see, I served 2 terms 10 years ago, and I had the jungle fever attack me again, so I ran again and then be commissioner on the island. Yeah, it's public service. You got to love it and want to do it and determined to give it all you got.
Cap, let me ask you about the Golden Ray. I guess it's all gone now. What was laying there in the river. I mean, have you had anything in your county to be as much of a challenge in the history of the county that you can remember? Is that the biggest thing that you've seen that challenged you guys?
Well, that was certainly the one that drew the most worldwide attention. I think living on the coast, you get all sorts of challenges, like any community does. They're just different in nature. But the Golden Ray was worldwide attention, and took a long time and a lot of money and a lot of people, and came during the outbreak of COVID. And thankfully, unlike a lot of other ship incidents around the world, the oil contamination seems to have been minimized. That's still an ongoing impact assessment. Georgia's shrimp industry is huge, and it remains to be seen how that be affected, the crabs and the oysters. So there's still a lot of unknown effects being researched and watched over. But it definitely, every day there was some or many reports worldwide. So the focus was on the Golden Isles and Georgia, because we had our partners with the statewide involved in this. So big deal. The good news is nobody died unbelievably.
Yeah, Chairwoman Cupid, there's a lot that happened on your highways and your interstates 285 and 75 coming through your county. In fact, I'm going to leave here and come through your county heading towards Berry College, where I'm speaking tonight to the Environmental Club. So I'm getting ready to drive up through your county. What are you had any exciting things that you want to share that's happened since the last time I talked with you, maybe 2 years ago?
Before the excitement, to limit any of yours, you may want to leave early. Don't get out there around, rush hour traffic time, or you're going to have some challenges. But other than that, today's been a positive day for us in Cobb County. We just opened up a Vector location, which is a Veterans Education Career Transition Resource Center. And it's going to be housed at our Chattahoochee Tech site off of South Cobb Drive. And this is to help our veterans transition once they come out of service into the workforce. And considering that we have Dobbins here, we have about 40,000 vets here in the county. I'm pleased that we have a significant investment to help them with their transition, because anything that helps them career-wise helps all those connected to our men and women in service, and it helps economic development overall for our county. So that's something pretty exciting that happened today for us this morning in Cobb County.
How about you, Chairman Daniell? Got any exciting things other than the Bulldog crowds that come through your county heading to that stadium?
Yeah, we are looking at, as part of our sewer plant upgrade, we'll be able to decommission a land application system, which we're going to be turning into a park. And so we hope to start that phasing in, hopefully in the next few years, to more ball fields for our kids to play on.
Amen.
Real exciting time.
Well, that's great. Well, I just want to thank y'all for being on today. Special thanks to United Consulting and anybody watching. Hey, if you want a copy of my book and you've watched this today, you just send me an email and I'll mail it to you, no charge. This is my wife. My wife, Chairwoman Cupid, says it's just a booklet. She says you wrote a booklet. I'm going, wait a second. I spent a lot of time on this booklet. But if you're interested in this topic, feel free to email me, tim@timechols.com, and give me your mailing address, and we'll be happy to send that to you. Well, thank you, Chairman Daniell, Cap, Lisa, for being on the call today. Good luck with all that you're doing, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Thank you so much.